And what is going on, everybody? Quan Credible here to bring you another Black Clover related video, another one of my dissections. This one on Zora, one of everyone's favorite characters, a huge, at least like in my personal circle and people that I've talked to, everybody likes Zora. Like, I don't know anybody who has, like, who just doesn't like him. And oh, wait a second, before I even get into the video, I got a nice thumbnail and I don't even know how to act right now. Go support my dude Cyber. He's a YouTuber. He makes thumbnails. He is super dope. If you're a content creator, you need some thumbnails or some video editing, check him out. He is great. I just had to show that thumbnail one more time because it was so good. But yeah, sub to my dude. But yes, into the Zora stuff. So of course, like all my other dissections, are just going to start on his personality and then kind of go from there. So the thing with Zora is when you talk about him, you kind of really have to mention his dad. Like, his dad, it was such a big part of like who he was growing up and like who he is right now. Like, we don't really know too much about Zora's mom. Like, I guess she's just unimportant. But his dad was the first peasant, I would want to say, who became a magic knight. He was like the first peasant that was actually accepted. And this was way back when Zora was 12, like way back when he was a kid, essentially. And it's funny too, because like Zora as a child was really like, he seemed kind of shy. He was very meek. He wasn't necessarily naive. He just really kept to himself. And that's like kind of where his dad would come in. His dad was really loud, energetic, really reminiscent of Asta. His dad gave him the Ideale, as you guys probably know. Basically looks like how we see him in the current story. Said it was a super mage, and basically his dad essentially with this doll created the catalyst for what is Zora's character right now. And of course, we all know how the story goes from there. Zora, his dad, gets killed by one of his squad mates. Zora hears this while visiting his grave. He just happens to overhear it. And this kind of sends him on the, I don't want to call it a downward spiral, because it's not like he necessarily like took a dark turn, but he did take, I know I just said he didn't take a dark turn, but he actually kind of did take a dark turn when you think about it, because he became a vigilante of sorts. Like, just the one who kind of tries to keep magic knights in check, which is something that we haven't really heard about. I mean, we've seen that magic knights tend to abuse their power, but like there isn't really anybody to like police them, essentially. So that's where like the super mage Zora would come into play. I'm assuming he probably spent a little bit of time like perfecting his magic, like perfecting his craft, before he went out and just started to essentially just punish the magic knights who weren't true mages or true super mages, the ones that lived up to the idea of what they should be, like what his father was. And then of course, through some time doing this is when he met up with Yami, who he obviously could not do anything to Yami. Yami, like, we didn't get to see the fight, but judging from the flashback that we got to see in the manga and in the anime, I'm assuming like Yami no-diffs him and just invited him to join the Black Bulls, just because he, you know, Yami likes interesting guys, and you can't really find anybody too much more interesting than Zora in the Clover Kingdom. Now, one of the main things that I really enjoy about Zora's character is I think he's really necessary. And what I mean by that is, in Black Clover, we get to see lots of the higher up, like in terms of the mainly what we see, we get to see tons of the higher up nobles and nobility and royalty and all that, who are really stuck up, really classist and things like that. And then we also get to see like the peasants and the commoners who have just more or less accepted their fate to being lower than the ones above them. Zora is the first, I want to say, and the only character that we got to see at that point in the story that was, like, for lack of a better word, just against it. He was like a true, like, a rebel. He doesn't stay in his place. Like, he makes sure to like put nobles and put royals in their place, and like he's very vocal about it. And it fits really well because when you think about it, he is literally a product of the upper class. Like the upper class, just turning their back on the commoners and the peasants, treating them however they want to. That is what directly has created Zora and made him how he is. So I just think he's really important to the series. I kind of wish he could get more screen time. I actually wouldn't even mind like a small filler arc covering him, with like just showing him going through, just punishing like random magic knights. That would be dope. That would actually be a really dope thing to see. But It's actually kind of funny because despite how much I like him or how much you or other people may like him, he actually placed 15th in the second and third popularity polls, which I just randomly seen when I was looking up stuff for this video. I just thought it was odd that he didn't really crack the top 10. But a lot of you are familiar with the Viz Media site, the site that I know I read, like I read my manga on there. Or at least some of it. But on that, like that site, they have their own separate poll, separate from the like official one that they run. And on that one, I want to say he was in the top 10 on the second and third one, because that was like when he was introduced, which is like, I don't know. I think it kind of shows that like Americans tend to like him more, or not necessarily Americans, but what's the word I'm looking for? But like non-Japanese natives, I think like Zora more. Another thing worth noting while we're on the topic of Zora's popularity, I can talk about the other things from the back of the, or not from the back, but from the assorted questions in the Black Clover volumes. Oddly enough, Zora is actually the 5th most liked by animals, which is really odd to me, just because like Zora's kind of mean to everybody else. But it could be one of those things where like animals can definitely tell people's like true nature, so they realize that he isn't necessarily a bad guy or like that. He's actually a really good guy. And another thing, he wasn't out for when they did the when they ranked all of these like black bulls in terms of their intelligence. Like, I don't know if you guys seen it. If I can find the scan for it, I'll put it up on the screen right now so you guys can see it. But if not, Ghosh was ranked number 1 as the most intelligent black bull. But definitely with Zora becoming like one of the members, or one of the known, or definitely with us finding out that he is a member of the Black Bulls, he would easily be smarter than Ghosh in my opinion. I don't really think this is up for much debate. I mean, if you disagree and think Ghosh is smarter than Zora, please let me know why. But I feel like most of us will probably agree that Zora is smarter than Ghosh. But anyway, so on to his abilities. Contrary to popular belief, Zora's magic type is not trap magic. It is actually ash type magic. So I see that a lot. Even I used to think that. But so despite him having ash magic, we haven't really seen him use any like crazy ash based spells. I mean, of course he can just shoot generic magic blasts or reinforce himself to like break things, I guess, but I don't really ever see him shooting some crazy ash type spell. Pretty much he just uses traps. That's what you, me, everybody knows him for. So as we all know, like his specialty is trap magic. So like he's able to use his ash magic to make traps that can have a variety of different effects. Now he can make bigger trap spells like that have like crazy effects that can like reflect magic back to people while doubling the damage. He can copy the same magic effects that other people just shot at him. He can place them on himself. He can place them in midair. But these all kind of take some time. He can't necessarily throw those up fast. For things he can make semi quickly, as he explained it, he can only do like 3 really basic types really fast. One that's just a basic pitfall. There's another one that just releases a really simple attack. I'm assuming the one that like if you step on it, it just like hits you. That one's probably it probably wouldn't do all too much damage to anybody. And then the third one just binds you. I mean, I'm assuming the length of the bind is probably dependent on how much time he spent on it, as well as the actual strength of the person itself. Like obviously, if he use this spell and say like Nash from the orphanage stepped on it, it would probably bind him for much longer than say a captain like Nozel, just for example. Then the other part of this that was really interesting to me is if you're anime only, you can just go ahead and click off. This part gets a little spoilery, not nothing too crazy, but if you just like want a completely blind run, I would just leave now. Like and sub if you are leaving, I appreciate you. But for everybody else who is staying here, Zora mentioned, or before I say that, I seen this in a tweet a while ago. If I can remember or if I can find the tweet, I'll post it on the screen right now. If you're not seeing it, it's because I couldn't find it. But someone said on Twitter, like they brought up the fact that in the Crystal Arc exam, he mentioned he couldn't throw up the array as fast. And we recently found out in like recent chapters that arrays are basically combining runes together. So like you combine runes together to make an array, and then the array has an effect. So it almost sounds like the very basis of trap magic is making an array. Now what that means is kind of confusing to me right now, just because I don't think that the Clover Kingdom is really like apt on runes. Like I don't think they know a lot about them. but I've seen other people use trap magic, so it makes me wonder, are there just certain people in the Clover Kingdom that are knowledgeable about runes and arrays? Or another possibility, is it possible to create arrays without using runes? Because if you look at it, Zora's traps, like while the text and like design is similar to the runes and arrays, it's also quite different at the same time. So there's definitely a difference here, and big props to Tabata for even like for that like small foreshadow, and on props for the guy who even caught it. But it definitely raises a lot of questions for me, and I'm pretty sure for you guys too. I would love to know you guys' thoughts on the whole like Zora mentioning arrays, like what you think his experience with them are, as well as like if you think he can use them, or if this was meant to be said this way, or anything along those lines. But outside of all that, Zora is definitely one of my favorite characters in the series. Let me know if you guys like him down below in the comments or anything like that. Hopefully in the series we get to see more of him, because it's been like, it feels like it's been forever since we've seen him, like outside of when he was first introduced. And in the manga, it's been a while since we've seen Zora. So hopefully when he does come back, we get to stick with him a little bit longer. I want to say, like, from the Black Bulls that we know about, he's definitely gotten like the least amount of screen time for sure. Like I feel like we've seen Henry so much more than we've seen Zora. But let me know how you guys feel about Zora down below. Is he one of your favorites, one of your least favorites? If you enjoy his character, all that kind of stuff. Also, let me know, like I said just before, what you guys think about the whole array thing, him mentioning it. Do you think Zora can use arrays? Do you think Zora is knowledgeable on runes? Do you think it's something completely different and it's just somewhat kind of similar? Definitely want to know you guys' opinions on that. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Big shout outs to Cyber. Like I said before, go check him out and support him. Like and sub to the video. I support all of that stuff. The support always makes me feel good on the inside. Yeah, that's about it. So I will catch you guys in my next video.